Program, B.S. English. Course, 19th Century English Novel. Topic, Character of Eustacia Vi in Hardy's The Return of the Native. Prepared by Dr. Shahryar Khan. Question. What is your estimation of Eustacia Vi's character? Is she responsible for her tragedy, or is she a victim of fate and circumstances? Discuss. Introduction. Thomas Hardy calls Eustacia Vi Queen of the Night and then compares her to ancient Greek goddesses. She has a dignified bearing, the beauty of her dark hair is magical, she has a dreamy disposition, and she is uncompromising in her idealism. She has this passion of to be loved to madness. Though she is aware of the fact that love is a doleful joy, yet she still desires it. From the very beginning, the narrator tells us about her loneliness and her desire for grand things. Culturally and spiritually, she is a misfit trapped on Egdon Heath. She has the passion and tastes of an advanced civilization, or in other words, she is best suited for a big city. She never blends in with her surroundings and always appears to be a creature of another place and time. Virginia Woolf has commented upon her character in these words. Eustacia Vi is the very type of the romantic rebel. She has a passion for the exotic, for the faraway, for the city lights. Her tragedy is that she is an exotic plant dropped into the middle of the desert of Egdon Heath, where there is no nourishment for her luxurious soul. Point 1. Eustacia Vi was brought up in the fashionable sea resort of Budmouth, but after the death of her parents, she is forced to live with her grandfather at Egdon Heath. She is unable to reconcile her nature with dull and drab existence at Heath. As Virginia Woolf commented that she desires for the exotic, the far away, but the life at Egdon Heath is nothing like that. This leads her to a great despair, and she is always dreaming of ways to escape her surroundings. She tells Wildeve that she abhors Egdon Heath. "'Tis my cross, my shame, and will be my death, I abhor it too." In the course of the narrative, we see how her desire to escape the Heath is the main cause of her tragedy. Her prediction does come true. The Heath as the object of her hatred becomes an image of destiny, the colossal prince of the world that she blames for her unhappiness. At the end, she meets her tragic end trying to escape the Heath. Point 2. One question that consistently rises in the mind of the reader is whether she is sincere in her love of Clym or not. We know that she has a very idealistic idea of love in her mind. However, there is a possibility that this idea of love is the result of her boredom and feeling of being trapped at the Heath. The narrator says that she longs for love as an idea. This implies that, for her, a particular lover is not important. If we look at her character from this angle, then love is just a distraction for her. Before the return of Clym, she had relationship with Wildeve, but she herself is uncertain of the nature of their commitment. The moment Clym returns, she forgets Wildeve and starts fixating on Clym. She just needs someone who would take her away from the Heath, whomever he might be. She does not fall in love with Clym as a person of flesh and blood, but the idea of him which she has in her mind. For her, he is a man who is different, exotic, fashionable, and more importantly, her savior. He would take her away from these dull surroundings. After their marriage, she is not able to convince Clym to move back to Paris. When his eyesight begins to fail and he is forced to work as a common laborer, her dreams of a life of luxury and fashion come crashing down. At this moment, she loses her interest in Clym completely and starts meeting Wildeve. In her selfishness, she does not even consider that Wildeve was also a married man. It is because of Wildeve that she does not open the door for Mrs. Yawbright, which, in turn, leads to her death. Indirectly, Eustacia is responsible for her death as well. Point 3. However, there is another angle to this matter as well. There are hints in the novel that indicate to this possibility that she is sincere in her love. At one instance, when Clym tells her that he won't return to Paris, she says, "To be your wife and lived in Paris would be heaven to me, but I would rather live with you in a hermitage than not to be yours at all." Here it seems that her feelings are not superficial. As fate has it, that Clym's eyesight fails and he has to work as a humble laborer. She might have reconciled with the idea of living at the Heath with Clym having a respectable profession. Now, to live at the Heath as the wife of a common laborer is too much for her. She can't be blamed here as she has lived a good life. She says that she cannot accept life at the bare minimum level. She desires music, poetry, passion, war, and all the beating and pulsing that is going on in the great arteries of the world. Sacrificing all this in return for nothing is not acceptable to her. After the death of her mother-in-law, when she and Clym drift apart, she does not see any chance of their reconciliation. In her desperation, she tries to leave the Heath but fate does not allow her. Conclusion. To conclude, we can say that Eustacia's nature and circumstances both contribute to bring her fall. Her idealism has made her inflexible and uncompromising. She is unable to understand her situation and choices. She makes many bold attempts to change her circumstances but fate does not allow her. She can be held responsible up to this extent that she does not love Clym or Wildeve, rather she is in love with the idea of love. She uses both of them for her escape from the Heath. Terry Eagleton is of the view that she possesses cultural consciousness for an advanced city but lacks the material sources to realize her dream. He thinks that rigid class structure is also responsible for her fall. Irving Howe sums up her character in these words. Hardy gives Eustacia the attributes of a goddess, yet her desires are painfully, almost pettily, human. She longs for Paris, but her idea of Paris is built out of cheap romantic novels. She is a magnificent queen whose kingdom is merely a sand dune.